Hey everybody, thanks for watching Guy Doing Stuff. I'm Adam and today I'm going to be installing the binding. In my last video I cut a channel around the back. In this video I'm going to show you the actual binding installation process. I bent these figured maple strips a couple days ago with that same process I used to bend my sides. I only need 4 to do this, but I bent 6 of them just to have some extras on hand if anything goes wrong. They're about 1/10 of an inch thick and 1/4 inch wide. I'm going to install the maple strips on the back first, then I'm going to cut a channel on the soundboard side and install maple bindings and black, white, black purfling strips on that side. Before I glue them on, I gotta make sure it's a perfect fit. I tape one side down, mark where to cut it, then take it off and nip it on the mark with a chisel. I use the disc sander to sand down to my marks exactly. Now I'll tape it back down and use the same process to fit the other side, using the first strip as a reference. I'm intentionally taking it just a hair too long here, then checking the fit before I take it back to the sander so I know exactly how much I need to take off. I'm gonna make sure my table is totally clear of anything I don't need for this because it's kind of an intense process and I don't want any kind of distractions. I put the glue in the channel on the lower bout of one side and tape the binding down like this, then work my way up the binding with strips of tape. Once I get close to where I stopped gluing before, I apply glue on the rest of this side and continue taping it down. As soon as I get one side taped down, I do the same thing on the other side. It's important to work quickly and carefully for this because I don't want the glue to dry before I get all my pressure applied. As soon as they're both taped down, I'm going to do one more step to make sure the binding is really tight in the channel. This is 100 feet of twill tape. I wrap it around the body like this and it applies quite a bit more pressure all the way around to ensure a good fit. The twill tape is why I waited to cut the soundboard channel. It could put dents on the edges of the channel if I had cut it before I did this. Cool, yeah, that looks like it went really well. Now I can cut the channel for the soundboard. I cut this binding channel the same way I cut it for the back in my last video. I'm going to be putting a purfling strip on the inside of the binding, so I'm going to adjust my Dremel setup and cut another channel that's a little less deep and a little further inward. I'm still following the cutting order 2 I explained in my last video for these channels to avoid tearing out the grain. After I have my channels cut, I install the binding and purfling just like how I installed the binding on the back. You don't have to get a perfect fit on the upper bout for the soundboard because the fretboard is going to sit over this area and hide the joint there. It's a little bit more tricky to glue because you have to get the purfling in there too, but it's really not all that hard. This orange tape I'm using here is made for installing binding. It's similar to masking tape, but there's something about it that makes it not pull wood fibers up when you take it off. I don't worry too much about the hardwoods or exotics, but it's really helpful on spruce because regular masking tape will pull up fibers deep enough that you can't really sand the defect out. I'll leave it here with the twill tape for a couple hours, then come back and unwrap it and clean it up. I use my little razor blade scraper to scrape them down to close to flush. Then I use 120 grit on the orbital to clean it the rest of the way. The middle part is hard to get to with an orbital, so I glued some sandpaper to this PVC pipe and I use it like this to sand this area. This looks so cool. The Zircode is insane. I'm feeling really good about how this looks so far. I still have quite a bit of sanding to do, but I wanted to get some shots of this before it got too dark tonight. It's crazy. We're gonna have like a finished guitar here really soon. I'm very excited about this. I have another video where I installed the binding on my first guitar, and that video is a little bit longer, but it'd probably be a good one to watch if you're trying to learn how to do this. I'll put a link to it in my video description. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to Worksharp Tools for sponsoring this series, and don't forget to hit subscribe to stay up to date on my videos.